All right, Scottie, welcome back. Place where you finished runner-up last year, but runner-up last week as well. So form's obviously pretty good coming in here. You'd be pretty happy with that, I'd say.
Yeah, form feels pretty good. I took 2 good days of rest yesterday and Monday. Majors typically wear me out pretty good, and so it was nice kind of getting home and just getting to relax a little bit. As far as this week goes, the golf course seems like it's in really good shape again. Greens are rolling nice, and looking forward to another week here.
I guess between last year's finish and just last week, how hungry are you to win this one, also being, in your home area?
Yeah, I mean, I'm typically pretty hungry to win whatever event it is. I show up expecting to come here and play well and do my best, and I'm hoping for a good finish this week, but I try not to look too far ahead. I'm just, getting ready for tomorrow morning. I'm going early late this week, and just, I'll get a little practice in this afternoon and then go home and try and get to sleep.
Regarding your game itself, what was the biggest positive takeaway you had during your time at Oak Hill this past week?
Yeah, I felt like the Byron, I didn't swing it as well as I would have hoped to, and I started getting more comfortable with my swing, and I really started feeling the ball kind of come off my putter really nice, and I felt like I struggled for a few tournaments there in a row with the putter, which was a bit frustrating. Masters was a frustrating week with the flat stick, and Hilton Head was more of the same, and so it was good kind of feel like I'm starting to trend in that direction, and when my putter gets hot, I typically have some pretty good finishes, and so hoping that it'll heat up this week.
One more, a big story this past week and now this week too is Michael Block, obviously. What are your thoughts on just what he's been able to do and just what it means for growing the game, having a PGA Pro, have that performance now playing in this event and the RBC coming up too?
Yeah, so, it's awesome. We played behind him last week on Sunday, and listening to the hole-in-one was pretty fun, and it's definitely great for the game of golf. The PGA professionals really do the hard work for us. I grew up at a golf club, and my coach is a PGA Pro, and he's a proud member of the PGA for probably 50 years now. I don't know, maybe 45. Randy's pretty old, but I grew up around those guys, and they introduced me to the game and taught me how to play. And so, anytime you've seen a PGA Pro have some success is really special. And we're definitely happy for him and well deserved to be getting into these 2 events after his performance last week.
How does it feel to be the world's #1 and back at your hometown course?
I don't really think much about rankings and stuff like that. It's nice being back here at home and being able to play an event. Like I said, majors typically wear me down pretty good, especially when you're in contention on the weekend. And so to be able to sleep in my own bed this week and, able to just be at home the last 2 days was definitely important in terms of rest. And then playing in front of a home crowd as the week goes on is always really fun.
And does that make this tournament extra special to you to be able to play in the area where you're from?
Yeah, I grew up coming to this tournament, and so being able to come here and play the golf course and compete is definitely very special for me. Growing up dreaming of being out here, now being on the other side where I'm inside the ropes and trying to do my best and compete, and it's definitely very special.
And do you have any specific memories of coming to this tournament when you were a kid? Is there anything that stands out to you, a special moment you remember?
I don't remember specific things, but I definitely remember showing up with my dad and just coming out here and watching. My dad loved to watch golf, and when I grew up, anytime I'd get a chance to go to a PGA Tour event, was pretty cool. And so, come out here, practice round days, and watch guys. I typically like the practice round days more just because you can get closer to guys, and I like just watching. And so it wasn't as much about the atmosphere. It was more just me watching and learning from those guys. And so just being able to come here and all the pros were always pretty nice to me, which is always a nice bonus.
Are there any, last question, are there any pros that you saw that you've been able to play with now? Is that from the Colonial?
So not specifically from this event, but I grew up at Royal Oaks where there used to be a number of pros that took from Randy Smith, and being out here, Ryan Palmer's one of those guys that I grew up watching, and now we're out here competing. And we actually got paired 2 weeks ago at the Byron on Saturday, which was pretty fun. And I grew up with various guys that competed here, and so to kind of be walking in their footsteps is very special.
Scottie, you mentioned that these major weeks kind of wear you down. What's the biggest challenge of playing a week right after a major, or maybe some of the benefits or perks of continuing to play?
Well, I think the majors definitely kind of sharpen your focus, just because the golf courses are so challenging and you have to be on for all 18 holes. Anytime you lose focus out there, you tend to get punished for it pretty good. So that's kind of, I think, where the wear down factor comes from, just from being at such a high level of focus. And that's the type of energy that I'm trying to bring to more of the regular tour events, just that intensity for all 4 days, not just when you're in contention or not just when I'm playing really well, just bringing that intensity to every shot, whether it's the first tee shot tomorrow morning or a shot in the playoff like it was last year. So bringing that same intensity, and I think the majors is a good way to kind of train my brain to do that same sort of thing.
So this is the last year of this format before they do the big redo with Gil Hanse here at this course. Have you been looped in much about the changes that are coming to Colonial in the years to come, or
No.
No.
I know a lot of guys love the golf course the way it is right now, so I'm interested to see the changes that they make. I mean, this is one of guys' favorite stops on tour, and so I'm interested to see what it's like. I hope it doesn't change too much because they got a pretty special place here. But Gil Hanse is a very talented golf course redesigner and restorer. I don't know what he calls himself these days. Is it restorer or designer? What?
either or?
Either or. Okay, good. And so I'm sure he'll do a good job.
And what does it say about Texas golf and the success that Texas golfers have had, that the two favorites in this tournament are both from Texas, and that you both have had so much success in the PGA Tour over the last decade?
Yeah, well, if you're going to look for the last decade, you're probably going to look at all of Jordan's results. I've only been here for a few years, but yeah, Jordan, he was another guy that I looked up to growing up. He was always a few years ahead of me, and he was just crushing it from a young age, and so he was always a guy that I looked up to and was able to kind of bounce things off of when I was thinking about turning pro, when I turned pro. He's always been a guy that's given me great advice, and he's such a talented player. And I think growing up here in Texas, you learn how to play all different kinds of shots. I feel like Jordan and I are pretty similar in where we like to play shots. We're not really I would say that neither of us really have perfect golf swings, to say the least. And so, he's just another guy that I've learned from. And like I said, growing up here, you learn how to play just all different kinds of shots and learn how to play the game versus trying to play golf swing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.